So I'm going to take you through a tutorial on how to create a website domain, subdomain. Thus, for an already existing domain, you can always create a subdomain and run it as a full-fledged website. And maybe we are going to run some simple code to portray the public interface. So we start by accessing our cPanel for an already registered domain. So I'll use one of my websites, which is that. So the upload time will always depend on the strength of your internet. Just like in my case, mine is a little slow. So we insert the password. No, I probably would like to use a different domain. I prefer using a different domain, which is that. So you realize that this is already a website which is already running on some codes. But what we are going to do is to create a subdomain which must maintain the original website domain. So like in this case, this brasonseng.co.ke. We can do example.brasonseng.co.ke. We can do example.t.brasonseng.co.ke, or we can just do a.brasons.co.ke. So we log in. Yeah, here is our cPanel. After logging into cPanel, you look for a toolkit called domains. Under domains, you click on the domain linkage. So all your domains under this URL will always be listed in this section. And you realize the first one is always the main domain. So for us to create another domain, we can click on the create a new domain button. Then you insert the prefix you'd like to use. We are going to use example or templates. Let's use template. So it will be template dot brasons eng. So brasons eng is the name of the main domain, which must always be maintained. Template will be the identifier for the new domain, but it has to be created inside brasonseng.co.ke file. Just that, then we submit. So as you can see, you realize that we already have another subdomain, which is templates.brasonseng. You can always click there to access the cPanel for the subdomain, or we can search it. Yeah, so when you search, you realize that the subdomain is already created, but it appears like this because it's got no file still. We can try running some codes to see how it appears. So we may need to get back to the tools under cPanel. Then you search for files. Files are here. Then our subdomain is here, templates. Just click on it. This is the default file. You can choose to delete it. Let's see what happens when you delete. So we delete. Then we come here and refresh our public interface. You realize it's now lost. The root file is lost. So we want to try and plunge in some simple code to see what happens in the public interface. You go to upload. So I'm going to search for some files in my desktop. You might not be in a position to see these. So I'm looking for some of the manual codes I initially did for other clients. Let me choose that. It's uploading around 19 MBs. Successfully downloaded. So we can choose to come here and refresh, or we can go back to the home page. And you realize under the template, there's now a zipped file called Troppers. This is a zipped file for some website I did initially. So after successful upload, we can extract the file under the same folder, which is template.brasonseng.co.ke. File is already extracted. So just to check on our public interface, you realize that the extracted files appears. But now this is not what we want. We want the website itself to appear. So we come back here and we move this file from this folder to the template.brasons.co.ke folder. To do that, we'll have to highlight everything inside the folder. We highlight everything inside this folder by selecting all, then we move. Before you move, you have to ensure that the root directory of the file ends at template.brasons.co.ke. Then you continue. And always ensure that you move everything and the previous folder, which is the Troppers2 folder, remains empty. So when you get back to your main domain and refresh, now you realize that there is a running website. So that's how simple it is to create a subdomain. And again, a subdomain is always propagated instantly because it runs on an already existing domain, which is already fully propagated. We can still create a subdomains email, which can be done under the email section in the main cPanel. Remember, the cPanel still remains to be one for the original website, which is brasonseng.co.ke. So if you want to create a subdomain, an email for the subdomain, you just get to the toolkits and emails, click on emails, then all the emails will be listed here. So create a new email. You can choose the domain link you want to use. So in this case, we want to create one for templates.brasonseng. The username can be info. We can set our passwords. Either you can do your personal password or you can generate a system password. Then you create. Quite slow. Good. So here is our email for the template.brasons, which you can still go ahead and log in. Good. Here we go. So that's all for creating a subdomain and uploading files in the subdomain. I think the next section I'm going to work on installing WordPress and using a WordPress template. Thank you. I've shared a 5 minutes.